name's Nicky Beyries, and I am the bar director at Foreign Cinema and Laszlo Bar in the Mission here in San Francisco, and then I also do some consulting as well for other bars. So I started in the service industry when I was 15, and as soon as I turned 21, I started bartending. So I've kind of bartended all over the Bay Area and some in Austin, Texas, and done some other large-scale music festivals and things like that all over the world. Here in San Francisco, I oversee all 3 of our different bar programs for Foreign Cinema, which we are actually celebrating our 20th year this September, which is pretty amazing here in San Francisco. We're one of the very first farm-to-table restaurants, and we also just released a cookbook this year. So I do all 3 of our separate bar programs and all of our staff education. I feel like the agave craze is definitely still in full swing. We have lots of requests for mezcal and lots of requests for other agave-based spirits, which is actually really cool because A, that's one of my passions, but also it's from people who wouldn't traditionally drink tequila, or people who maybe 4 or 5 years ago are the kind of demographic that when I would approach with tequila or try to sell them on a tequila drink that wasn't just a margarita, would have been kind of scared or reticent to try that. So I feel like it's become a lot less scary for a lot of consumers. So that's been really fun. I also feel like more niche amaros and various different things like that. Like, people are playing with gentian and bitter flavors that up until recently were not very popular. Aperol has always been an aperitif that, in that kind of category, that red aperitif Italian style has always been fairly popular, but I think now people are not being scared by really, really intense flavors. When it comes to pairing cocktails with food, since we are a restaurant and we do have our front bar, but it also serves the food from the restaurant, one of the challenges, but also one of the really fun things that I get to do is our menu changes every single day based on what we get from our farms and purveyors. So when the kitchen has an excess of something, I can integrate it into aspects of the bar program, which is really nice. And then when I come across a really cool product, I can also give it to them, and then they can use it to make sauces. So there actually is a lot of crossover in that regard, like directly, but just in general, we kind of try to keep with that farm fresh California ethos, and also just making things really aesthetically beautiful. I think the idea or the mark of a really great bar is that it doesn't have to be everything to everybody, but it should have something for everybody. So in that way, we're able to really attract and appease and deal with a whole wide variety of people and consumers, as well as different styles of food. One of the really cool things about Foreign Cinema as a restaurant is that our food menu changes every single day based on what we get from our farms and purveyors, and we source all of that directly from them. So there's oftentimes, if the kitchen has an excess of something, or they come across something really cool, or something's at the peak of its season, they can pass that on to me. And then also, when I find a cool spirit that I'm really enjoying, I can pass that off to them. A lot of our base sauces and mother sauces actually utilize a little bit of alcohol here and there, but when I come across something really unique, I can pass that on to them. So we have a really nice symbiotic relationship in that regard, but also I just find that because you're in such a beautiful setting, I love a beautiful cocktail. I think that cocktails should really appeal to all 5 senses, and the beauty of it and the appeal to the eye is really important to me. So I get to utilize really beautiful herbs and flowers and all sorts of things as garnishes that we really try to make the most of. So in that way, I think that there is a great symbiotic relationship between food. And I also find that consumers are much more willing to be open to pairing a cocktail with food, although we're also really, really famous for our wine program, and it's incredible. I dork out on it all the time. People, it used to be that nobody would be open to doing that, and I think that people are becoming a lot more adventurous, which is really fun for me. I got kind of tired, I've been doing this a long time, and it gets tiring when you make the same drinks over and over and over again. So it's nice to see people being willing to branch out. I was really excited recently when a rep brought to me a really beautiful French cassis. He also had a really great elderflower liqueur, which I passed off to our pastry chef, and she was very excited about that. So she's been doing some really fun things with that and playing around. Luckily, I get to eat all of the experiments. But also, our chefs really enjoy the cassis, and because we do a lot of duck dishes and some of our dishes are very classic French style, he utilized that cassis, and it's so much bigger and brighter and bolder than what he had previously been purchasing. We've also found really fun ways to use agave spirits. We are located in the Mission, which is traditionally a Latino neighborhood, and we have a lot of Latino customers and our friends and neighbors. One of the things that's really important to me is social justice. My mom grew up on a farm here in the Central Valley, and as a child she actually almost died and developed a lifelong autoimmune disorder because of crop dusting that was happening near her home. And so making sure that all of the ingredients that go into something are ethically sourced, that workers are being treated well, that botanicals that are going into it are grown and packaged and picked, and people are getting paid what they need to be and what they ought to be is super, super important to me. And then I also think that just like the freshness of your ingredients, all of the citrus at our restaurant comes from a single ranch, Bernard Farms down in Southern California. Comes to us less than 24 hours, direct from the tree, isn't picked until it's ripe. They have an amazing practice that they've set up there, and just making sure that everything, that can also be a challenge in that some days, for instance, maybe if the lemons are really ripe, they're sweet and they don't have that acidity. So it's always about how can you balance that sort of thing on the fly while making sure that you're delivering an enjoyable, thirst-quenching product.